Hi, we're live with Teresa Tomeo in the Ave Maria Press booth at the World Meeting of Families. Thanks so much for coming over here.
Well, thanks for having my book here. It's great.
She's going to do a book signing here in a few minutes, but we wanted to chat a little bit with the live broadcast on Periscope, and it's also available on computers as well if you're not using the Periscope app. So Teresa, tell us about your new book, which is perfectly timed for the Year of Mercy, Intimate Graces.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how that worked out. Heidi Haxton, of course you know Heidi, she's a great editor. She approached me about 2 years ago at the Catholic Marketing Network and said, I have this idea for this book and I think you and Deacon Dom will be great. And I never thought of my husband and I writing a book together. Yeah. We do our testimony together quite a bit, and he's a deacon and he writes great homilies, but we never kind of put the two together that we should be writing a book. And the idea of applying the works of mercy to marriage, it makes so much sense because of our own journey back to the church and the problems that we had. So I thought it was brilliant, and I give her total credit because it's her idea, and of course the Holy Spirit. Yeah. But then who knew that the Pope would be announcing the Year of Mercy, and it just came about. Unless Heidi got a personal phone call from the Pope, which could have been, but I don't know. But we're really excited about it. I think what's unique about this book is that you hear both of our voices. Yeah. Dom speaks, and then I speak, and then we also hear from the voices of other couples, Greg and Julie Alexander, who are well known to EWTN viewers and listeners.
Alexander House, right?
The AlexanderHouse.org, right? They wrote the foreword, and they share their own journey back to the church and back to marital healing. There's also a lot of uplifting moments in there, funny moments between me and Dom and how we're so different and how we balance each other out, and just real heartfelt messages for couples to stay together and to really utilize the faith, especially according to the works of mercy.
So is there one particular work of mercy that you really latched onto in writing the book that you really like?
Yeah, I think there's several, but I think Ransom the Captive for me meant a lot because my husband is the one who brought me back into the church. Wow. And he ransomed me in so many ways. He came back to the church first, became an on-fire Catholic after attending a Protestant Bible study of all things. And
is that right? Wow.
I was very much lost in the world, very into my secular career as a broadcast journalist, and very worldly, ignoring a lot of my responsibilities at home, and just getting caught up in all the things of the world. Yeah. You know, my idols were it was my job basically. Yeah. And I hit rock bottom when I was fired from a major position out of the blue, and I realized that my marriage was falling apart, and now I didn't have a job, and I had no identity. And slowly he began to talk to me about the faith and bring me out of a place of which I felt was despair, and to let me have hope, help me realize that he still loved me despite all of my mistakes, and that he was willing to make some changes if I was willing to work with him. And he eventually slowly prayed me back into the church, and as I said, ransomed me from my own self. It's a phenomenal, our story is such a miracle, and I always tell people that if God can straighten us out, he can straighten anybody out. There's hope for anybody.
No, I can't believe that. I don't know your full story, so tell me about, because you were in a regular media.
I was an anchor woman, and also
now you're
reporter.
You're in the Catholic media.
I'm in the Catholic media, so I'm applying the same thing, only in a much better way. But it's a very competitive business. Sure. And so I was very caught up in that. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. I've been doing broadcasting actually since I was 14 years old in high school. We had a little high school radio station. Only broadcast for about 2 blocks, but I was still on the air.
That's great.
So it was just, I was growing up at the time in the late 70s and early 80s of I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, and the sky's the limit, and break through those glass ceilings. But in order to do that, we were told that we had to sacrifice everything. And so I did. I just bought the lie. And it almost cost me not only my marriage, but my soul. And, my husband came into my life. I never expected to get married. He did. It was a grace from God. And he stuck by me. We stuck by each other. And here we are. He's now a deacon. Yeah. And I'm a Catholic speaker and pro-life activist. Go figure.
So where was that transition coming? I mean, you're in our minivan all the time on the radio. So how did you get involved in Catholic radio? How did you get involved in
Catholic I never expected to do Catholic radio. I wasn't even that aware of it. Ave Maria Radio, which actually co-produces my show with EWTN. My show's on 5 days a week on the EWTN network. And I didn't even know about Catholic radio. I had decided in 2000 to walk away from the secular media. I felt God calling me out to speak about the culture and to speak about pro-life activities and to speak about women in the church. But I didn't see myself getting back on the air because I thought I had given that up. And I said, Lord, that's okay. If I never get back on the air again, if this is what you want me to do, to speak and to use my talents differently, that's fine. But it was as if the minute I said that, all these doors started to open for me. I was actually invited to host a Protestant radio show on a Protestant station for an hour a day called Christian Talk with Teresa Tomeo. Never left the faith, was still Catholic, but I was doing interviews every day, 5 days a week. And then Al Cresta and I had known each other, and they were just starting to develop Ave Maria Radio back in like 1990s. And he called me and said, "You were looking for a morning host. We'd love to bring you on." And then in 2002, the door opened, and the rest, as they say, is history. So then that became a syndicated program about 8 years ago through EWTN. And then through that, I got to know Doug Keck and the whole gang at EWTN, and they brought me on to do some special programs and whatnot, utilizing my TV talents as well. So
I want to come back to the book in a minute, but tell us about what you're doing here at the World Meeting of Families. You've been super busy. You said you're up at 4 in the morning.
Yes,
today,
I was up at 4 in the morning because having to do a show and all these great events going on and trying to keep track of the Pope and everything that he's saying and doing. So I wrote another blog, which people can find at teresatomeo.com and on Twitter and all that good stuff and Facebook. And then I'm also hosting my show. We're doing the show live here every day. I did some television for EWTN. I did some interviews with Johnette and Doug, who are hosting from here. The book signing today, meet and greet with the EWTN viewers back at the booth after I'm done with you.
You've got a great setup over there,
It's beautiful. And then tonight I'm emceeing a big pro-life event with Father Frank Pavone.
Oh, nice. Where's
and
that
Archbishop Chaput. That's here.
Okay.
And then tomorrow night I'm emceeing an event with Archbishop Corleone and Bill May from the Marriage Project, where they're going to be announcing a big initiative for marriage. So
that's exciting. Wow.
So other than that, not much.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, going back to the book a little bit, what was it like writing a book with your husband? I know my wife and I will do like marriage things every now and then, and it's never easy to like get on the same. How were you able to do that?
I think it was great because we've spoken together, and so we've written talks together. And I thought it was fairly easy because he wrote half the chapters. Right. So the writing project was like, oh wow, this is a piece of cake.
This is your first book. You've done this before.
Right. And so I think it went fairly smoothly, and we had a great editor, and she worked with us and helped us fine tune some points. But it was really beautiful because we didn't read each other's. We didn't talk to each other about it. We basically said, okay, here's an idea, I'm going to go with it. But we didn't like write it out and say, you look at this and then write your part. We just let the Holy Spirit move us, and it's amazing how in sync we were.
What was it like to read his chapters?
It was great. I mean, he's a really good writer. He doesn't give himself enough credit. He writes beautiful homilies, and I had the privilege of helping him when he was in the seminary. If he didn't have time, I would type his papers for him because he hunts and pecks. He's not I'm a very fast typist. I didn't write his papers; he wrote them. I just typed them for him, and I loved it because I learned so much, and I could see his writing style, and it's beautiful. It really is. So it was fun. It was a really good experience.
That's really great. Well, we're excited to have the book, and it's like I said, it's so perfectly timed with the Year of Mercy.
Yeah, and it's great because Archbishop Chaput is chief endorser of the book on the
right
cover.
On the very top.
Yeah. So we're excited. Intimate Graces: How Practicing the Works of Mercy Brings Out the Best in Marriage. If you're at the World Meeting of Families, come by. We've got the book signing today, and we'll be talking about this. Oh, and Doug and Johnette held it up on TV yesterday.
Great. Awesome. Good.
So it was neat.
So you're sticking around for the weekend, right?
I'm staying till Friday, and then I have to get back home because I have more talks next week. So,
Well, we're watching the Pope from afar. We're excited.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you,
and
get
book signing
the book.
Thanks.